This is Louise Horton, and Louise is a member of the Wakefield Green Party, and she's also one of our candidates for MEP, and she's also taken on the task of trying to manage Magid. Anyone who knows Magid, which I suspect is all of us, knows what a massive challenge that is. And Louise was so courageous and took that on, which has been wonderful. And she also organised the Tour de Magid. So it's really marvellous, and so she's taken it all around the region, which is really fabulous. Anyway, I'll let her tell her own story. Yes, thank you, Louise.
Thanks for listening.
I don't know how I got into this, because I was running a People's Vote campaign in South and West Yorkshire, Barnsley and Wakefield. Then the opportunity to stand for this position came up. That would be the MEP, to stand as a candidate. And, well, the game was up really, wasn't it? As soon as we saw Magid walk into the room that day, and we fought a valiant fight, but there was just no contest. Magid was, heads above all of us, and absolutely swept the vote. And the feeling of positivity and just support for Magid has carried us all the way through this. And when we put together this Tour de Magid, which was really just a chance to meet people from all the different Green parties, as many as we could, around the region for the last 12, 13 days, it all fell together, and the positivity you get from Magid is things I'm preaching to the converted. You know him, I didn't. And I didn't believe Alison when she said that he'd be difficult to manage, and actually, and he wasn't. And the credit I'd like to pay to Magid now is that every single thing I put in the diary in the last 13 days, with the exception of that day that he came down with that horrible flu thing and we had to cancel that day, he has made every commitment, every train that he's had to get, every appointment that he's had to make, every interview with the local media and the national media. We even showed up for a CNN interview tonight, and then we got bumped in favour of Donald Trump. What are you to do? So I take your word for it, but actually this man is absolutely...
It's only 12 days, I've known him for 3 years.
Yeah.
He kept up the pretense for a short time.
I absolutely held it together. Everywhere we've been, we have been. I sort of shadowed him, and I walked next to him, and we'll be walking in just random places, and people will stop and say, Magid, or aren't you supposed to be from Sheffield, or like that. Everywhere we go, it's true, isn't it? Absolutely everywhere. They stop and people queue up to have selfies with him, and he's not your typical politician, which you know this. Everywhere you go, he stops and he talks to people, and he might have given that same speech. Yesterday he gave pretty much the same speech 5 different times, and he said to me, I know everyone else hasn't heard it, but I've heard it 5 different times. I've heard it before, but you wouldn't know that because he gave the same speech, and he stopped to speak to people, and he engaged with people, and then he felt bad because he didn't know the answer to a detailed question on EU environment emissions from like the 1990s or whatever. And it's like, you know what, it doesn't matter because you'll learn that bit if that was a really important thing. But the important thing is that Magid doesn't change who he is, and he has an absolute passion for what he does, and he's going to take that through. And I have every confidence that tomorrow, you look at the polls, you look at that positivity, and I was just saying to Jan, my son tonight stopped me as he left the house and just said, his maths teacher, Mr. Moriarty, who he just loves, had said something about there's elections tomorrow, and my son said, yes, are you going to vote for the Green Party? And he said, actually, my son, who must be in his 20s, said, yeah, there's this guy, Magid, I'm supposed to vote for him, and my son was like, yeah, he's absolutely fantastic, and I've met him. And so Mr. Moriarty has said, well then absolutely that's who I'm voting for. And that was before he even mentioned that I was one of the candidates. So from my son to you, the word is getting out there, everyone knows, they know about what's happening, and obviously his parents were involved, so the word is getting out, and that positivity is absolutely phenomenal. So if we can just keep it going for another 24 hours on social media as much as possible, you've got to put something out on Facebook as well, even more stuff to get that. So from me, it's been an absolute pleasure doing this campaign, and the reason we did it was so that Magid, when he becomes an MEP, which is a when, he will know the region, and people will have got a chance to meet him, and it is a genuine chance. It's not a fly-by-night thing. He's not just sort of sailed in and sailed out again. He's taken time, and the important thing is he's taken time to engage with the projects that have mattered in each region. And the number of times we've had people say to us, why has he come out to, I don't know, the West Newton non-fracking site? It is a fracking site, essentially. Because you're not going to get any votes there. Well, no, he's not. But he is going to meet people who care very, very much about what's happening in West Newton or in the Aspen Bog in York or wherever we've been. And that matters to people. And if he didn't get elected tomorrow, that still is a matter. And one of the things that Magid says in the speech that I have heard a few times now, do you know what, I can't even quote him. He says, it's not how you make people, it's how you leave people feeling, how you make people feel at the end. And I know absolutely that every single place Magid has been to in the last 2 weeks, he has left them feeling that warmth and positivity they'll take on from that. So it's my absolute pleasure tonight to introduce someone that you know very, very well. Here's Magid Magid.
Yeah, in all honesty, it's been a bit of a whirlwind 2 weeks, and it's quite weird because we never really knew we were going to have this election, are we going to have it, are we not going to have it, nobody knew. But it's even like when we get a seat in Yorkshire, it could be for 5 weeks, 5 months, 5 years, nobody knows. But in all honesty, I was looking forward to a bit of a break, and finished being Lord Mayor this time last week, and I just remember thinking like, right, I give me a great opportunity to catch up with some family and friends. A lot of people I was basically felt like I was neglecting. Then again, I guess something kind of really compelled us all to act and want to do something, and really take that stand and want to make some sort of difference. And that's what actually led me to put myself forward as an MEP in the first place. And a lot of people might not know, but what actually got me politicised in the first place was this time 5 years ago. I remember actually being at home in 2014, and I just remember seeing the rise of Nigel Farage and UKIP, and just seeing this massive swathe of rhetoric of fear, hate and divisions happen within all our community. And I remember thinking to myself, if I can at least make my small part of the community, Sheffield, that bit better, that's at least me contributing, having some sort of difference. And that's what actually then led me to join the Green Party in the first place. And of course, a lot of people know me here through the Green Party, first being a councillor, then being Lord Mayor, and obviously within this campaign as well. And honestly, it's much of a success about so many other people as it is about me. So that be my friends, family, people of Sheffield and beyond, really supported me throughout this whole campaign. So thank you so much. And like Louise said, of course I live and grew up in Sheffield, but then I did spend a couple of years living in Hull where I studied aquatic zoology. But I kind of just thought, well, there's so much more to the region, especially if I want to go on to represent Yorkshire, but I need to really have a better understanding of it. So we put this amazing campaign together more, so actually Louise decided where we were going to go. But you know, it gave me a real opportunity from Skipton to Hull, from York to Sheffield, Doncaster, Ilkley. Today we were in Skipton, Ilkley, Leeds and back in Sheffield today, so we've really been all over Yorkshire and Humber to as many places as we could. But even then it still wasn't enough, because we had people saying, oh, can you come here, can you come there? And just sadly we just couldn't be as many places as possible. But it has given us this massive, great opportunity to learn so much about Yorkshire and Humber. And honestly, win or lose the European tomorrow, I think I'm proud of myself, I'm proud of Louise, I'm proud of Alison, I'm proud of everybody who's been really part of this campaign, because I can walk away feeling like not only have I learned so much, but also we've all contributed to putting out a real message of hope that is the antidote to all this negative that we're seeing from all across the country. And honestly, that's something we can all really be proud of. But I am hopeful, I am really confident that we will take a seat. And I'm no betting man, but Ladbrokes has got us 1 to 3 to actually take a seat. But it's exciting. So, and honestly, just the whole point of just really being here, just first of all, just say a massive thank you to all of you guys for all the massive contribution you've been putting in for the past 2.5 weeks. I know it's not been easy. I know you've been speaking to lots of people, putting out leaflets, doing lots of things in social media, and I really, really am appreciative. And I'm really, really hopeful. We've got one last big push to actually do, and that's tomorrow, and we're going to be everywhere, and yeah, fingers crossed. But the weird thing about it is all of Europe votes on a Sunday, because it makes sense, because nobody's at work on a Sunday. People can actually go out and vote. But Britain, we do things differently. We vote on a Thursday, which is odd. But what's going to happen is literally they're going to lock the ballots away. For 2 days we're going to be twiddling our thumbs thinking, what is the fate of these elections and whatnot. But all across the country, you know, I think one thing that we've learned, even just from the last local election we had a couple of weeks ago, people are looking for a real alternative, looking for a real message of hope, and I think that's what we are bringing forward with the Green Party. And I always genuinely, and I'm not over exaggerating when I genuinely say that I feel as if like we are fighting for the soul of Britain, and I just genuinely fail to believe that the authors of our future belong to the likes of Nigel Farage's, or Lib Dems, or the Labour for that matter, because we need now more than ever, we need to have a bit of certainty, to have the courage to say, no, this is what we stand for. We are going to stand for freedom of movement. Yes, we want to remain and transform the EU. Yes, we are going to campaign for an anti-austerity government. I think that's what really has resonated with a lot of people, because we're not fudging, we're not fluffing our words, and we are very consistent and we're very strong in our principles. And that's why a lot of people, even a lot of Labour people, have been telling me non-stop on social media, coming up to me saying, no, I'm voting for you guys because you guys are very strong on your message and I know where you stand. So we are the only pro-Remain anti-austerity party in this European election. But not only that, we're tackling some of the biggest issues that are really affecting not only our country and Europe, but worldwide, which is climate change. And I always say the biggest threat to our planet is the fact that we believe somebody else is going to fix it. And the fact that I'm really proud of being part of a party, Green Party, where we've always led on it. And I always say where we lead, other people have followed, whether that be universal basic income, whether that be £10 minimum wage, whether that be declaring a climate emergency. And I think a lot of people are really resonating with that. We're not just putting things on a leaflet like the Lib Dems where they say, yeah, we're tough on climate change, vote for us. Yeah, they just open up a call, propose in favour of actually opening up a coal mine in Sunderland. We're consistent with that messaging. So that's why I'm really proud to represent the Green Party. That's why I genuinely believe all across the country we should and we will do well tomorrow. So thank you so much. And I kind of thought it'd be a good opportunity if anyone's got any questions for myself, Alison, or Louise about the campaign or what we think will happen and whatnot, or about anything whatsoever. For just open it out to people. Tony Nicholson from Doncaster.
When you obviously taking place in the European Parliament, every time that Farage gets up to give one of his Boston speeches, will he go on stand next to him with a sign saying he doesn't speak for him?
Yes, it's quite bizarre because it's a limited company, the Brexit Party, first and foremost. But not only that, like, they have no policies, and I think their policies is whatever Nigel Farage says, tells them, and it's genuinely, it's quite scary, like the amount of hustings that we've had, and we come across people within the Brexit Party, and you tell them, well, where do you stand on this, or they just don't know, they're like, WTO, but like, we don't understand what it is. And the same with, honestly, Change UK, which I just think is a bit of a vanity project, because again, there's this European election is so much more than Brexit. We're putting up MEP candidates that's hopefully going to be there for 5 years, who are going to like campaign issues, whether that be security, air pollution, immigration, all of these issues, and it's important to know where our MEPs actually stand on these issues. So I feel like that's another thing hopefully a lot of people have kind of clocked on, so will hopefully support us for that.
While you're on this awful subject, as you've been going around, have you found a feeling of support for Farage or a fear of him?
Do you know
Which
what?
is the strongest feeling that you've come across?
There is that core voter base that regardless of what you speak to them, they'll always say, yeah, we just want to leave, we'll vote for Farage. And I had one person say, I don't care if the economy fails, I don't care whatever disastrous things happen, I just want to leave. Which, like certain people is really hard to convince of, in all honesty. But some people, when you get down to the bottom, like, why did you vote to leave? Like, and they say, well, because I wanted change, or because these immigrants are taking our jobs, or because there's not enough school places, or it's taking me ages to see the doctor. And you kind of get down to the bottom of it, and it's all down to failed government policy.
That's austerity, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all linked to austerity. But yet you'll have people like the Nigel Farage who will scapegoat migrants and say, no, all your worries and all stuff, all the issues, which people have got some rightful issues with. You keep scapegoating migrants from other nonsense where it's actually failed government policy. So you're right, but at the same time, there is a lot of people that you do speak to them like, oh, I've never thought of this, or say that, well, kind of like, I'll think about it, I'm not entirely sure. You'll get a sort of people that say, I'm sick and tired of all this election after election after election and whatnot, but it is a really important election. I genuinely believe this is the election and we'll be telling our grandchildren about, and hopefully we'll be telling stories of how we actually stopped climate change and it distracted, how we reversed Article 50 and how we actually stood up to the things that really matter to us the most. And Yeah, and I'm really quite hopeful. Yeah, buddy.
Do you think that Molly Scott Cato was right to pull out of her election hustings at the last minute because she would refuse to share a platform with UKIP, or do you think that by doing that she was missing out on the opportunity to get her message across to voters, which you think is more important?
Yeah. You know, say like Molly, I don't know what her exact reason was why she actually didn't want to go on the hustings, but personally me, I don't mind being in the hustings with UKIP or English Democrats, which I even didn't know that much about, but they're as viable as UKIP in all honesty and Nigel Farage. So like, I will gladly sit, and I did, you know, honestly, with a couple of hustings and whatnot, and they just really show themselves up more than anything, but at the same time I understand why some people don't want to share platforms that really kind of give them a voice and whatnot. If it's like a public hustings, personally I'd rather be in there and actually get my voice across.
Magid, what's the competition like? The people you're up against, and have they been doing similar things to you over the last couple of weeks?
I genuinely don't think any MEP candidate in Yorkshire has worked as hard as we did.
No.
You know, and I'm not just saying that to be biased, like, but of course, like, what we're going up against, we haven't got the same amount of finances or resources that other people have, like the Lib Dems, like they'll put 3 leaflets out in each house. We just can't compete with it. All we can do is just try to be a bit creative, try to do things a bit different, but really just put ourselves out there. And like, you know, we said it was important for me and for us to really engage with a lot of different communities and create that content and kind of share as much as people on it. So the polls, like the Best for Britain poll, which kind of collate all the different polls, are saying the first 2 seats will go to the Brexit Party, the 3rd one will go to the Labour Party, the 4th one will go to Lib Dem, the 5th one will go to Greens, and the last one is between maybe Labour and Brexit Party, but the Brexit Party should get that one. But again, the polls, like, I just genuinely like this, you can't really rely too much on polls, and you'll see when people say the only poll that matters is the one on Thursday, the 23rd of May, and it's true, we can't put our faith in that, and I'm not one to get complacent or generally put my faith in that whatsoever. And plus, I'm someone that really manages their expectations and always downplays a lot of things just to kind of prepare myself if we don't win. But like I said, honestly, even if for whatever reason we just come up short, we've got a lot of things to be proud of.
To be fair, the second, did you mention that just now? So I was distracted trying to get this on Twitter. But the number 2, the number 2 Labour candidate, did you mention, actually contacted Magid to say, well, you're quite secure in this, so can you convince your people not to vote for you, because then I can get it. So this is clearly so threatened by, because it's, and the Lib Dems are saying, actually Magid's kept the campaign very straight, very honest, very not nasty, and yeah, because it can get really, you know, and when you're talking to a lot of Remainers and a lot of the hustings, they're all Remainers and they all just want the same thing and they don't want to have the nasty bickering. And we've had people from the People's Vote campaign that I run in Barnsley that are Lib Dems saying, I've been out today and we've been convincing people to vote for Green, or I spoke to somebody and they came down with Green, and they weren't trying to steal that, and that's actually lovely. So there's been a lot of positives, and in York we had people from Labour, I mean Labour people coming up to us all the time, and it's not a nastiness, it's not us trying to steal the Labour vote, it's us just saying, do you know what, we'll give you a home for a day if you want, or for longer if you want, but we understand your pain and it's horrible right now to be a member of the Labour Party. And Magid's just done that, has kept it really positive. So yeah, they're threatened by the campaign, and positivity is all everyone's talking about. But you know.
But the issue is just trying to get to as many people as possible. Like, the more visible we are, the more we actually speak to people, the more people will actually then be like, well, this person and this party is just so clear cut on everything that we stand for. And not that we've got an actual real chance. And for a lot of people, it just ends up saying, well, it's a no-brainer. Like, of course I'm going to love the Green Party, but it's just being about getting ourselves in front of people.
At least you've got a manifesto, haven't you? Not just
Yeah. What's the feedback been from like some of the people you've spoken to, or even like from your friends and family and whatnot? I'd be curious just to hear.
Incredibly positive. I've got my boss actually is a really committed member of the Labour Party and has been really suffering and has been defending Corbyn and really got suffering with it. And even yesterday, She was really, couldn't make her mind up. She was tortured, and she's spoken to me today and said, I have to vote for Magid. And she told all her friends and neighbours as well, which is great. So it feels to me like there's a real cut through happening.
I generally feel as if, like, even from the last local elections, that traditional voter base of people saying, oh, well, I've always voted Green because my grandma, you know, there was, like, even from the Tory, but I think genuinely those changes in politics are happening, that's like, and people are looking for alternatives, and there is no such thing. I feel as if anyway at the moment of that traditional voter base for Labour or the Tories, people are vulnerable, people are waking up and realising this is all complete nonsense, and that they are demanding more and more, in honesty.
Yeah, I had a big shock today. I spoke to a woman who's an academic, and you know, I expected her to be able to think clearly and think well. But she reached the conclusion that she needs to vote for Brexit because she wants to teach Labour and Conservatives a lesson. And that didn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Guess having a PhD doesn't really make you that. Alexei?
There's a lady that came to the sanctuary today. She's a refugee, but she brought all her leaflets in, and she said she can't vote, but she is going to pray for you.
Oh,
She's not allowed to vote.
I will take that. No, send me my moments, you guys. Jill.
We've had lots of people at the store today, and it's been really, really positive. There was a guy that went to Hull the year down from you, and he wanted to vote for you because he thought you were a good guy. And he didn't actually know you, but he knew that you were, not personally, but he knew that you were big in the Students' Union.
Yeah.
But also we've had people from Lib Dems and Labour coming up and saying, we really don't know what to vote for. I'm thinking of voting for Green, and they've been persuadable, and you know, that a lot of Labour members have said also that they will vote Green for you.
How many Lib Dems saying they vote Green? That's interesting.
Yeah.
How many people had Lib Dems saying they vote Green?
Not locally. My friend in London who's Lib Dem, she's voting Green.
Okay.
I have a lot of people that are wavering Lib Dem and Green.
Yeah.
They still haven't quite made up their
So
mind.
high.
To be fair, you don't find many Lib Dems around here.
As a recent student, we don't know any Lib Dems.
Do you know what, like, it's, the population of Sheffield's like over 500,000 people. And I guess if you can get like, even we get a really good positive turnout in Sheffield, people voting Green, that will hopefully help us in the outcome. I can't see there being recounts in the European election, you know, but or there maybe there will be, maybe we'll be for surprise.
Yeah, just to have one.
Yeah.
Have you had any TV coverage?
Yeah, we've had news nights, BBC News, ITV News, Look North, Sunday Politics. And we've had quite a few like newspapers come up.
New person.
Yeah, new personage. I had a couple like newspapers come up as well, covering like Daily Mirror, Huffington Post, and even within the local ones like Bradford, York, even all the kind of local kind of papers have all kind of covered it. So.
You've not been on Andrew Marr, have you? Because you'd have done a far better job than whoever that chap is.
Yeah. No.
You'd have actually told the truth, which would have been lovely, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Chris, is there anything that you think we should be doing or what I should be doing in terms of like, I know I've only got like 24 hours, but like, I'll be interested to hear if you guys think there's anything specific. If not, that's cool. Alexei?
Check out if there's any vegan milkshake shops.
I think there's not enough milkshakes in the world to actually cover.
That's the slogan for a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Not enough milkshakes in the world.
Yeah.
It's a podcast to catch the milkshake.
Yeah. Any other questions about anything?
I was just going to say, you have seen this afternoon about Magid Magid unable to get off his bus because people had surrounded it, just holding him. throwing no missiles, but he did not get off his bus.
You know, I find it is so bizarre.
it's not me.
Really?
He obviously doesn't have the courage of his convictions, does he?
But like,
I think
it's,
he's too frightened to answer the questions that he can't answer.
but I just love, what do they call it? Lactose intolerance. And it's just like, it's all the dairy. First you had the egg boy, then you had milkshakes, cheese or custard or something. Yeah.
He'd like that if it was covered in custard.
We could tell that you're in custard if you want.
Browns.
Right, any other questions? In that case, guys, honestly, like, feel free to stick around, have some drinks. We'll basically be here. We can go back in there and get some drinks and stay there, or we can bring it back in. But I just want to say thank you so much for taking, not just your time out today, but just, I guess, throughout everything, and just being really, really supportive. And hopefully, Sunday nights, hopefully Monday we'll have a celebration and then we'll party. But fingers crossed, and thank you so much.